twice. Jesus Christ, give me a heist. Not for the ride, for eternal life. Just your love, I just want a slice. Give me a slice of a piece of your pie.
DAVOR's VILI ROM. I was not the owner or breeder of VILI, and maybe I'm not the right person to write a story about this great animal. But since his breeder Daver never wrote anything about him, and besides Daver himself, very few dog men know as much about VILI blood as I do. This is why I think my view on the dog will be just as good. I had the privilege to pet this animal with my own hands. I saw him in his second match with my own eyes. I was bred my best producing bitch to him back in 1997. But, to start from the beginning, it was somewhere in the mid-80s when Daver from Croatia purchased a double-breed daughter of Ljubomir Thor, aka Chico, directly from Ljubomir Obradovic in Belgrade, Serbia. She was heavily, and I mean heavily, inbred on Country Boy's VENTJE. VENTJE was a well-known dog in Holland. He won 2 in short order and lost 2, showing to be a dead game specimen, RIP. He lost his last versus Mr. Nobody's CH Rocky. This little inbred pup got by Daver was named RIA. She was crippled due to heavy inbreeding, her knees on her back legs dislocated every time she made a fast move. Because of that she was never old. Daver kept her in his house like a house pet. She was his main producing bitch. He always believed in her, because of the way she was bred. At that time there weren't many pit bulls in this area. The chances of finding a worthy stud dog for her weren't very good. After studying the pedigree of Genja's Black Magic, aka Mad Max, Daver chose him to be bred to his RIA, to outcross her. He traveled to meet the owner of Mad Max, who was in Leskovar in Ljubljana, Slovenia. This is where the breeding was done. 2 months later RIA whelped a litter of 7 pups, all females. But Daver wanted males too. So sometime later he repeated that breeding. That time he gets what he wanted, a few males and females. The second litter I believe was born somewhere in 1989. Besides VILI himself, in that second litter also were born his brothers T&B Brick and Bizers BULDO1W. I saw both dogs with my own eyes in the box. Both were very good. Bulldog was one of the biggest, hardest-mouthed dogs I have ever seen. He won his contracted match in only 9 minutes with one single hold under his opponent's left shoulder. There was blood all over the arena. His opponent was a son of ROM and he didn't have any chance. His owners picked him up wisely. That match was at catch weight. BULDO was 31-32 kilograms. 68-70.51 bs of raw power. He was a black dog with white feet, bulldog type build with an abnormally big head and extremely hard mouth. His owner went to a war that started here in our country and BULDO went with him to the front lines. His career as a match dog ended there. Chapter. Brick on the other hand, was a brown dog, with a different style. He was smart, he could fight the defensive and offensive way when he needed to. He was matched 3 kilograms, 61 bs over his true pit weight. He was fat. He was owned by Brothers Kennel from my town. He won one, then lost to Ljubis's chapter. King. I saw that match. Brick kicked King's ass for about a half hour. Then, being fat and in poor condition, he went down, overheated. King was a true finisher. He pulled ahead and Brick was picked up at 45 minutes. He scratched back very game on 3 wheels. His owners were disappointed when they got an offer from T&B Kennels to buy Brick from them. Of course Brothers agreed to sell him. T&B purchased Brick and young SVRCO, VILIX Bonnie. They matched Brick 2 more times at his proper weight 24.5 kilograms, 541 bs. I saw his last match for championship in Sinj. Brick went into Barosi's Pinky, who was a 2x winner at that time and IX loser. They both were 2x winners, and they both lost LX against the same dog, Ljubis's chapter. King. Davers Coral Littermate of VILI, R.O.M. Brick won championship over Pinky Fair and Square in LHR 45 minutes, both scratched game at the end. Before to go back to VILI, I just want to mention few more females which were from those two breedings of Black Magic X Rhea. One red female was sold to Silvio from Zader. He named her IRA, and after her schooling was over, he decided to keep her as his main brood bitch. His main stud dog was Wham 2W at the time, and Silvio bred them. He got several litters out of Wham and IRA. Most known dogs from these are Ljubice's chapter. King, the dog who beat chapter. Brick, Gale's X chapter. MEGY3W, Gale's X RAY2W1L, and Kuba's Charlie 1W1L. Two females from Black Magic X Rhea litter went to Serbia. One black bitch named MEGY11 in short order then lost game to Bijelgina Boys chapter. Bela in LHR 25 minutes. Mr. Radonjic and many other old-timers say that match was one of the greatest matches ever. I saw that match on videotape. MEGY was double smaller than chapter. Bela, in any case Bela was too smart to lose that match. MEGY scratched back game. Another female which was exported to Serbia was named MEXY. All I know about her is that she produced one good dog. Janja's GR. Chapter. Jeep 6W, who lost his 7th versus Montenegro's chapter. Jocker. I know of two more sisters to VILI, one is Davers Cora. I saw her match when she lost against David's chapter. Orca. Funny match, Orca was in great shape, ideal pit weight at 23 kilograms, 50.51 BS. Big females, but Cora was fat at that weight. She looked as was full of puppies. I guess her true weight was 421 BS. Cora was picked up at 45 minutes and she scratched back. Last sister of VILI I know about is Gina. She is known because she produced Ljuza Kennel's chapter Batak 3W1L 2.05 when was breed to VILI. Now let's go back to VILI. To understand the true point of the VILI story, I wanted you to know a little bit more about his littermates and bloodline who runs behind him. I believe Daver started schooling VILI when he was only 15 months old. He liked him from the start more than his other littermates. He saw that VILI is the special dog. VILI was a beautiful animal, tall, heavy-boned, perfect back, shining black color, white feet and meaningful red eyes. I don't know much about his schooling days, but my friend Ito from GB Kennels, who is a close friend to Daver, told me that VILI was rolled once into his brother chapter. Brick for 30-minute Brick was game and bigger, but couldn't keep VILI off. Daver sold Brick after, but he kept VILI in his yard. It have been said that Brick, being bigger, dominated for 20 minutes. After that VILI kicked his ass and Daver stopped the roll there to save Brick because VILI wanted to kill him. VILI was rolled few times but I don't know much about that, only that he was Daver's favored. Anyway, VILI won his first contracted fight at 22.5 kilograms, 49.51 BS. He won in a half hour over T&B Kennels Art. I didn't saw that match, but I heard VILI totally outclassed Art. I saw the second match of VILI. Well, truly there was a disaster around that match. The match was supposed to be in Pag, a beautiful island where Daver and his VILI lived. Lots of dogmens arrived to see that match. VILI was set to go into Wehrmacht Kennel Satan there on that little island. T&B Kennel CH Brick 3XW, 1XL littermate of VILI, R.O.M. But unfortunately there was so many of us arrived in cars on an island as small as Pagas. More than 200 people had arrived in a village with 10 houses. Haha. We were so suspicious to everybody and of course the special police forces arrived and arrested us all before the match even started. They didn't know what was going on and after a few hours in the police station they let us in dogs go. Most of the dogmen were tired and headed back home. A few of us were wondering if the match was still going to happen or not. The owners of the dogs talked it over. Many things were against Satan that night. He was tired and lighter because of all the troubles, but his owner Buddha decided to let him go anyway. We sat in 4 or 5 cars with the 2 opponents and headed to Zader and Silvio's yard to face those dogs. When we arrived it was 2 in the morning. The dogs were weighed and Satan was 2.5 kilograms, 5.51 bs lighter than VILI. It was not fair to go, but Buddha decided to try anyway. Of course, it was an easy one for VILI. He won without any problems in 13 minutes. Satan was picked up to be saved. What did I think about VILI when I saw him go then? Many people think he was just a one-way destroyer because his matches were short. This is not true or right. The truth is that many of his offspring are strictly defensive, hard-driving dogs, but VILI wasn't so. He was a complete bulldog. He would go for the head at the start to learn what his opponent was going to do. He was this smart of a dog. When he saw that his opponent was too weak for him, he started with a great finish. He had a hard mouth and was a very talented and fast fighter. Well, I would say one of the best I'd ever seen, and I've seen plenty. You can believe that. VILI had great air. He was easy to condition. Above all, he was super-powered, an extremely naturally strong dog, and that characteristic is still today a main trademark of the VILI bloodline, a superpower. VILI bred dogs usually come in black, with white chest and paws, or they come in red with white chest and paws. All are heavy-boned, with big heads and a very heavy muscle structure. They all have a very rough temper. They are never shy with humans. It's more often they act the other way. There were rumors back then that a match of the year was to be held. Ljubice's chapter. King vs VILI 2W. That rumor was somewhere in 93 feet, but the match didn't happen. Daver never matched any dog after that. He decided to be a breeder only and had very good success with VILI as a stud dog. I think Daver should try to get VILI at least a championship title because he was a great match dog in my eyes. But Daver decided to use him only as his main stud dog, not to risk him. At time when VILI was 7 or 8 years old, a man from Italy arrived in Daver's yard. His name was Di Gregorio and he bought VILI and his sister Cora from Daver for an extremely large amount of money and took them both to South Italy.
My sins so I can live twice. Jesus Christ, give me a height, not for the ride, for eternal life. Just your love, I just want to slice. Give me